Hello, today I will be painting Rocket from the board game Marvel United. Rocket is part of the Guardians of the Galaxy Remix box. For the fur I used Mournfang Brown for the darker parts and Karak Stone for the lighter parts. Now, both of these are airbrush paints, so didn't need to thin them any, didn't need to use a wet pellet from them. I just used the actual pots for them. Now there are well-defined breaks on the tail that separate the lighter and darker areas, and these can be seen after the paint dries. So it's easy to see any mistakes that were made when painting. Now, the face has no real guide grooves, as the tail does, so I used the card art to guide me through that. So I put the darker brown, kind of where his cheeks would be. There'll be a black later on, and some of the Karak Stone, the lighter tan sort of color, will make up the bottom part of the face, the head. I'll also do the arms and legs with this. Now with the hands and feet, I did the darker brown, so I'll go over that with those. Now, for the area around the mouth, I thinned up or lightened up the Karak Stone. It was sort of a 50-50 mixture, and the look of it's mostly white. So there's that mixture there going on the eyebrows, and then the goatee area. I also used it on the edges of the ears there. Now, I use this black for the nose and the strip around the eyes. I colored the eyes in when I did the first run, and then I'll go back and give him actual eyeballs. So that's his raccoon mask there. For the eyes themselves, I use this yellow ochre. Put in the yellow ochre, made a little eyeball for him, and I finished it off with a little dot or line of black. Same black that I painted the stripe with. Now for the jumpsuit, I use this Troll Slayer orange, and then I used a Necromancer Cloak on the knee pads. Now, for the jetpack on his back, I mixed lava orange with gunmetal. And I wanted to get an orange metallic look that was going to be darker than his jumpsuit. Now, when I do this, I typically start off with the color that I want, put it on the palette, and add the metal, whatever I'm going to use for the metal, which seemed to grow wider by the second.
It felt like Zetrix into his base power. Despite everything he had invested, Zetrix had plenty to spare, and Richter was in a sorry state.
I get
the
color
Chaos
I
Seed's
want.
power
If you
had
use
dropped
too much
below
color,
15%
too much
and was
of
continuing
the
to
metal
fall.
color, then what you can do is just add more of the desired color, the orange in this case.
Possessing a soul as strong as the Chaos Seeds. Too great.
Now, the center part there, I'm coloring in lime green.
Once it was gone, even if he was willing to endure more agony than he already felt, it would be
energy
over.
Source for
his only hope would be that Zetrix's power wouldn't be enough to completely enslave him.
Guide for the card art on the back.
Squaring his shoulders, he prepared to give it his all. With his newly ascended form.
Alright, for his mouth, I added a small amount of the matte white
Tier 2
to the
form
pure red,
Chaos Lord.
and then I painted
Advancing
the
your
entire
level now
mouth
offers
inside
Im attribute points, 3 times as many skill percentage points, and only 50% more talent points. It was easy to see that even though each level would give him more
then
points,
what I do is I add more of the white to the mixture that I have, and I go over the tongue again, and I lighten it up a little bit as well to get a little highlight to it. Now, the gun is next, and I painted the gun in general in that plate mail. So that's the general coloring of it. And then I later on highlight it with silver. The only parts that I didn't use the plate mail color on were the there's a handle at the bottom, and then the opening of the cannon. I left those alone. So I painted the handles with the Necromancer Cloak. That's what I'm doing right there. And I start to add the highlights there in silver to make them shine a little bit more than they would. Hit those edge parts, a few of the things on top, and anywhere you think you might want to make it just a little shinier. Now for the inside of that cannon, what I did was I made a slight lightening of the Voidshield blue on the outside. Made an outside rectangle with that. And then on the inner part, I lightened it up even more and made another little rectangle around there. And the very center, I just left the white. Sort of got a, like a brightening effect towards the center of it. Alright, so for the base, the cylinder around the base is going to be in uniform gray. I also use this color to make part of the ground effects on the edges. I'm going to go over this in another color, at least the rock stuff, but for just the general ground I used uniform gray. Alright, so the rocket that he is standing on is being a mixture of weapon bronze and desert yellow. I did a roughly 2-to-1 ratio favoring the bronze. At least that's what I ended up with. I think I tried 1-for-1, and that's what I'm doing now. And when it dried, it didn't look as shiny as I wanted it to, so I went over it again with a little lighter mixture. So there's this little valve wheel on the ground. I painted that. Astorath Red is what I painted it in. And for the rocket engine, or the center of it, I just used gunmetal in that. And there's the lightening up of the second coat to the rocket, outer layer anyway. Alright, so the rocks I'm painting in electric blue, not thinned at all, just going over any rocky area on the bottom of the model. And after that, there's a couple pipes that are on the ground. Well, one on the ground and one leaning up. So I tried to stay away from those when I was painting the electric blue there. Here are the two colors I'm using to paint the pipes that are on the ground and leaning against a ship. One's leaning against a ship there, I'm going to use a Fenrisian Grey on. It's kind of a light blue gray. And this last one that's laying flat on the ground, I use dark stone to paint that. Last, I'm going to dust off the blue parts on the model with this Chronus Blue. It's a dry paint from Citadel. I also use a dry brush to apply it. So if you get any, this blue dust on any other parts of the model, you can certainly just leave it there. Maybe it crashed in and sprung some up or whatever. This is the completed model. This is pre-matte spray. And once I do a matte finish, here you go. This is what he looks like with that. Well, thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and that is Rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy and Marvel United.